Madam. So kindly introduce our resource person to the participants.
Okay, sir. Good evening. I welcome you to the TEL FDP of the second day session. Sir, Kureti Veeranjeneyulu is an experienced IT professional with over 10 years of expertise in the technology industry. He currently works at Accenture Private Limited, bringing a wealth of knowledge from his previous roles of Infosys and IBM. Veeranjeneyulu sir holds an MBA in finance, completing his technical background with strategical financial acumen. He also has a bachelor's degrees in computer science engineering, which serves the foundation of his successful career in IT. He is a strong blend of technical skills and business insight, enables him to excel in delivering innovative solutions and driving organizational institutions. Thank you, sir. I welcome you to the second day session. Thank you. I hand over the section to Veeru, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Shobna, ma'am, and thank you, Samshiragar, for this opportunity. Hello, all. Very good evening. This is Veeranjeneyulu Kureti. As described about me, I'm from the technical IT background. Fortunately, I'm part of these artificial intelligence journey from past 8 years. I'm working in these in RPA platform. Along with that, I have different experiences in the development of the chatbot and machine learning, some of the NLP technologies. Yeah, I think that's where it's bring me over here.
40 साल के आदमी को शायद थोड़ी तमीज से बात करते हैं तो भाई प्लीज रिस्पेक्ट तो प्यार से बात करो मैं आपसे प्यार से
Can everyone be on mute if you don't mind? Yeah, thank you. Let me start my sharing. I'm presenting my screen over here. So this is the concept of today's session, natural language processing for application building. I hope that, today we are all having a trending technology or the platform which is booming very well, that is of an artificial intelligence, which everywhere it is emerging like very linear, very rocket speed, that all the MNC companies that which they wanted to get expertise, and the next 10 years it will be a huge artificial intelligence technology that embedded in all the branches and all the fields, in every stream of the technology that we are serving, providing the services. Even a very interesting thing that I have got very recent times over the LinkedIn, that even it started a trend that posting even an artificial intelligence embedded agent. We required an artificial intelligence embedded agent rather than a human as a vacancy. That's the first job posting which it is there over the LinkedIn, that which it is going on. First of all, let me start with the question. Is these artificial intelligence is helpful? I mean, many of the people in the general public as well, they start with the concept stating is artificial intelligence is something is harmful for the human or employment or not. These kind of question will be there. So let me start with some interesting question answering this, and post that we'll start into this NLP program and all. Yeah. Usually, most of the people, how they think is of, for example, there is a project which is having a services providing, giving a services to the client and all. When after embedding these artificial intelligence or similar product into it, people have an assumption stating that these artificial intelligence is which it got reduced our employment and all. But here the most of the technical expertise given answer for this, that artificial intelligence is something that an artificially intelligence can be used, a human intelligence which we can utilize where the creative concepts will be. For example, when there are the actions You're opening a document, reading a document, and getting the information from that document, and taking that information to the respective tool and posting those information, and you're submitting. This is the daily job an employee is doing in an MNC companies and all. For example, there is a project, and when it is a routine, daily routine, that when we are doing going forward, there is no creative job. Either the human intelligence, we are not using it properly, and the resource is also not utilized completely. So for these kind of repetitive works, or some, when there is a low creative work, people are using mostly these artificial intelligence, yeah, as a replacement of the same work, and using the humans who are technically strong and efficient in the different streams of how to train the things and all. Even these artificial intelligence is very booming and very going in a very effective way, that we all knew. Different articles are going on, and every day it's an emerging thing that it is happening. So yeah, starting with our concept today, natural language processing for application building. So this is a branch of an artificial intelligence, which is obviously ability to machine understand and process other human languages. Better understanding what is these natural language processing. Uh, Recently, we are hearing from some of the state governments that we will be using the WhatsApp governance, which will be services of 100 plus services will be included over there. If you know that the LPG gas that can be booked by a WhatsApp chatbot, very simple steps of 3 to 4 steps can be used, and by which rather than you waiting and going to the respective booth or calling them and waiting for answering for their response, you can just give in a few messages which is trained by the bot, which is a chat bot. It is just gives a path of which, like from the start to the stop, it will fulfill your desired actions has to be done. So here where the concept goes in. So whereas the this is machines can understand and interpret the human language to eventually understand human communication in a better way. Here where most of the things, I mean, I try to keep this session as much as realistic examples that we have or we are using every day or in the industry. So first, starting with the natural language processing phases. Here it does what it does: lexical analysis, syntactic analysis, semantic analysis, and sorry, yep, pragmatic analysis and disclosure integration. Whereas, let me come up with one of the case. There is a use case where when we are developing, the requirement of the artificial intelligence over there is the user will submit a ServiceNow ticket. I hope that most of us know ServiceNow is something which is a tool used for submitting tickets, logging a ticket. An incident will be created for any services that a team, respective team, is working on it. So for this, the requirement is of after submitting a ServiceNow ticket, that ticket details has to be extracted, and post extracting it has to be analyzed, and after analysis some approvals has to be taken. For example, a user wanted to create a particular account, bank account. Let's assume a banking account. Okay. And someone have logged a ServiceNow ticket. And now what are all the details has to be there? The required, all the information will be provided over the ServiceNow ticket. And it has to be gone to the respective people. Here I am talking about the unattended mode or attended, both ways, where it has to get into a phase of analysis. And after the analysis, it has to be justified whether all the required documents are there or not. The respective branch employee or the manager will review it and he will approve. And this process will be done through a mail. All the details will be posted over the mail and send it to the manager, and he will be approving it. And the response is coming back. And after the response is coming back, again, the agent or the bot or whatever we are talking, that has to read the response from the mail, and it has to do the needful account creation over the respective bank. So this is the requirement that we received in one of the use cases. Whereas the thing came in, when we are processing the service now, the human language will be placed over there. Human language, in the sense, someone will be requesting like a very normal format stating, I required an account creation for of these savings account and these so and so. This is the details. When this is the details, that's fine. But when there is no details, how a language can be understood by the computer or a code, there where this natural language processing will be placed in. Here the same kind of analysis of the first steps will be done, and where once these analyses and the respective actions will be taken, the integration will be placed next. So here where it started, there are two components of natural language processing: natural language understanding and natural language generation. And here where we can be in, I mean, these kind of natural language processing mostly will be developed in earlier, I can say 5 years back in 2019, when I am working in IBM. There is a project that required of we used to use a communication tool called Slack. In that Slack, the requirement is uh, there are some runs and or the production, the bots got started, and they wanted to know, a end user wanted to know whether the respective bots of their process is working or not. So here where we have came up with the solution of these a chatbot, where Slack, through Slack, he will be like a sending hi, and it will be sending a menu, what are all you required. Then he will be selecting, status of a bot. There will be already written 1 2 3 4 in that status of your bot, or you want to start a bot or stop a bot, this kind of report of your bot kind of things. And the first one is of start a bot or anything status of your bot. When that's the case, there at the time of 2019, when we has used by using Python, we the same of what it is there, some of natural language processing libraries include. I think one of the things that they have used at that point of time in Python, and they extracted it. And post that, what we did, we have integrated that particular response back to the adaptive cards. We call when some communication thing is happening over the Slack end, and we are sending a menu, which we call it as an adaptive card. By taking the request from the adaptive card, it is communicating back between one of the RPA tools, robotic process automation tools, and from the response of the robotic process automation tool, it is giving back processing in between. Again, it is giving back to the communication tool of a Slack. So here where that chatbot was designed in 2019 when I am in IBM, and that's something, that came up with the solution of an operations where the end users are from Germany, and they wanted to get very a solution where they don't want to open any RPA tool, they don't want to open a mail as well, they just wanted to communicate like a chat they wanted to do, and that which has to communicate what exactly, whether it is performing or not. So this is where it is. So here where there are many techniques will be involved, obviously. Normalizing textual data in NLP. Text normalization transfers text into a consistent format, improves the quality, and makes it easier to process in the natural language processing task. Here normalization has to be done. And key steps in text normalization include regular expressions. We are aware that regex is something in the coding, we quite use these regex. Or as I mentioned earlier, email extraction using the same regular expressions. How it will be is of a binary, it will be like an expressions. How we write it, these regex is something I think most of us are quite familiar with the regex formats, how it will be communicated. It will be like a 0n formats that will be defined with the asterisks, and it will be extracted from that respective when it matches the criteria of what we mentioned over there. So regular expressions is one. And second one is of tokenization, is a process of splitting text into smaller units called tokens. The whole text of which it is dividing into a splitting into a smaller units, and where there are multiple tokenizations are there: word tokenization, rule based tokenization, subword tokenization, dictionary based tokenization, white space tokenization, and the word piece tokenization. These are the multiple tokenizations. As I mentioned earlier, regular expressions is one of the method which we use, and tokenization is the other. And the lemmatization reduces words to the base or root form. And the next one is of stemming. All these are the different methods, or the different text that we use as for the normalizations, where we can analyze the respective text, a natural language which we get as a request, and from which it got processed, and post that it will be transferred into the response. Use it as an input to the respective request, and receive the response from it and giving back to it. I think it's quite understandable how these functions. Yeah. And stop word removal is a process to remove common words from the document. Means like is, of, or we use as, right, a normal word, and we remove all these parts of speech taggings, and all these definitions and the context is also used over here. Here where text representation or text embedding techniques in natural language processing. I just brought these content for you to understand there are various different types. Going forward, we can make it, these are the different, normalization techniques, or text representation techniques, or these are the techniques, various techniques as per the requirements that we get, various techniques that will be used as per the requirement of what it is getting on. Yeah. So here where text representation or text embedding techniques in NLP, text representation converts textual data into numerical vectors that are processed by the following methods, like in one-hot encoding, bag of words, engrams. All these have a very detailed versions of how we can do the respective text representation in the NLP program, and all we can make it. And text embedding techniques refers to the methods and the models used to create these vectors representations, including traditional methods like TFI, DF, and POW, and more advanced approaches. And these are various techniques that is involved, which is of a word embedding, pre-trained embedding, document embedding kind of things we are using over here, which deep learning techniques is also there. Here, deep learning techniques is also quite used by the NLP programs, where artificial neural networks, recurrent neural networks, long short-term memory, gated recurrent unit, sequential to sequential models, transformer models, kind of all these things. Deep learning has a revolutionized natural language processing by enable models to automatically learn complex patterns and representations from raw text. Here, deep learning is one of the strong concepts, which, as I mentioned earlier, in one of, sorry, is someone speaking? I hope, okay, it's by mistake then. Okay. Deep learning is one of the concepts, critical concepts that most of the people will use as over the NLP program for getting these complex patterns and representations from the raw text. The inputs how we are receiving in the very recent, usually in the normal terminology when we are talking, there are two ways of the data we segregate. One is of a structured data, and second one is of unstructured data. When it is of a structured data, we all aware, like might be a table format or a different, like as you see over here, with the bullet points, or some prefix value or some postfix value will be there, and those based on the patterns that we will be able to analyze them in the structured data. In some of the unstructured data, in which here where these deep learning techniques will be used, and try to get the unstructured data into the structured civilizations, as mentioned earlier, by using the regular expressions to extract the required input from the text of various and getting processing. For example, in the realistic, we all know these Amazon, Alexa, and all. If we know that it's taken text to text transfer is there, and somewhere these artificial intelligence and the NLP programs will be used, like a voice to text conversion, and from there text to text again, and again processing it, and it is giving back. When most of the, apart from the generations, people are using quite more on these things, like in the very normal thing, like a chat GPT, we all aware. like I mean most of the things like a very graduate or the college can or an university using this chat gpt more often to know the answers or to get the required details, to know the meanings, what all of the specific. Here where the complex algorithms, I mean the complex patterns will be breaked, and it is like a searching methodologies will be done, and the response will be coming back, or the respective chat gpt window of where the request is sent. Next one is a pre-trained language models like generative pre-trained transformers and text to text transfer and robota. These are the BRTA. This is one of the thing in which pre-trained language models. Now where I think till now I have tried to cover the basic things what are all involved over the NLP, natural language processing. From here on, we can discuss more on applications of natural language processing, like what are all the applications that we use, and most of the things we all uses or in the in our every daily life. The first one, chatbots. I think I quite have given the examples of this. Even now, one of the current in the as mentioned, like I'm currently working in the Accenture, and here where one of the use case is of the same of communication tool MS Teams, and which we wanted to communicate by using, I mean, a chatbot we want to develop by using the same integrating to one of the RPA tool. But here earlier it is of it by using Python, by using using different packages from the Python, and doing the analysis and making learning of these machine learning concepts and NLP program. But here it came very easy. Like I mean, earlier in the 2019 when we were working, it's the Python code that which we uses. Now I will tell you the flow of how we are doing this chatbot. There will be an MS Teams over one end, and the another end it will be an RPA tool. I can take it as a Blue Prism is one, or an UiPath, whatever it is. Let's assume is a Blue Prism. Now in between we want a for intermediate. Earlier it is of Python. Now we are using this Power Automate of the Microsoft, where it is sending the adaptive cards. Again, it is also a part of the RPA tool, but this is something which got easier rather than now there is a trend that's going on low coding and no coding concepts, that which the tools will be, I mean, the coding will be there, and you will be imported all those packages to use the respective request to get it fulfilled. So one end it is of MS Teams, other end it is of a Blue Prism, and between it is of a Power Automate and Microsoft Power Automate. Here where the adaptive card, once I message hi, these requests will be gone to the next part of the Power Automate. It will receive, and it will immediately send adaptive card who are authorized it to message. So that once the authorization is confirmed, it will send back an adaptive card in which the request we have customized. Once as per the request, for example, I wanted to start a bot or some code that it has to execute over the production. Now in which in between these Power Automate, I choose an option which is of a start a bot, and it will come back to the response to the Power Automate, and from here a request will be sent to the Blue Prism, which is by using some command line parameter, passing the parameters of the server details and the authorization credentials and all, and a command will be executed over the Power Automate, and a bot is triggered over the Blue Prism. And now as a response, I'm getting the start ID of the respective session. Session ID will be provided from the Blue Prism as an output or a response to the Power Automate, and these respective ID will be taken by the Power Automate, and it is given back a response to the MS Teams. I think this is what exactly the chatbots that we do. I mean, this is one of the use case that which we are developing in the in a daily basis, that based on our requirement. So here where chatbots are quite familiar, we all knew that. I mean, most of the cases earlier it is of like, and there is an voice support team used to sit, and they used to attend the calls, and they used to give the solutions, responses to each and every person, and they used to spend a lot of time and lots of effort to give an answers which are already there, written over some document, and that answers will be read to the respective requested user, that sir, so and so request you have got, and this is the solution. And for providing this, the effectiveness and the accuracy, effectiveness and robustness and everything has to be calculated, and obviously the cost efficiency as well. So they came up with this chatbot concept. You just select a different thing of where exactly what it is happened, and the chatbot itself will give you a response if it is already have it over the library, or else it will tie up to the someone who is an agent who is working. So this chatbot is something which it is working to the similar. You can see the point over here. First, they identify the meaning of the question asked and collect all the data from the user that may be required to answer the question. Then they answer the question appropriately. Even not even an answer, they are doing the fulfillment of exactly the actions of what exactly the request is there, placed over the chatbot. Second one is of autocomplete in search engines. You all know that there are these search engines are quite famous. We all knew that. We go to Google, www.google.com. We simply go there and we directly give some, whatever the name we wanted to give, and it will give the respective URLs or the meanings and everything. Even if we observe very recent times, if you go there, if you go to Google and you search something, you get a response as Gemini AI responses we are getting first to understand it. Then next, if still it's not a response, you want some URL or you wanted to go something inside the things, then the below the search page, you will get the URLs and all. If you observe, the AI is used more efficient way of how usually we require. For example, if we go there over the Google and I ask the meaning of what is a chatbot or what is a search engine, then Google used to get an answer with the algorithm, very strong algorithms of what Google have. It go and searches search engines it uses and get back the response, and it gives us the information. Moreover, now by using these Gemini things or chatbots and chat GPT, we are getting more accurate responses. If it is not something we are expecting a response, we are getting into more further to get the request that we are requesting. Here where the point that it is of, let me highlight this. Yeah, natural language processing to guess what you want to ask. Search engines use their enormous data sets to analyze what their customers are probably typing when they enter particular words and suggest the most common possibilities. Yeah, obviously, I mean, most of us are quite aware of this, and we are all might have thought or read earlier as well. Yeah, they use natural language processing to make sense these words and how they are interconnected to form different sentences. That's how it is. Yeah, this is quite similar and familiar for all of us. Now came up with these voice assistants. As I mentioned earlier, in an Alexa or in an iPhone, it is of an Siri, or in an Android Google version, it is having a Google Assistant. We all uses these regular, voice assistants. Nowadays, we are using enabling by using a device, electronical device, which is connected over the respective electrical board. And I just tell that Alexa, please switch on the light. It is switching on the light. And very very realistic example that I can say. We stay three of us in our home, and each of us have a different requirement. When it comes to my mom, she used to every day morning 6:37 she wanted to hear some devotional song. Simply she asked Alexa, can you play these devotional song, and it start playing. It understands, it processes, it fulfills your request, and it will tell that Spotify is there, or Geo 7 is there. So by using these respective applications, I can give this. All these things are enabled. When it comes to me, I, after an hour or 2 hours, I go there and I start asking, like, Alexa, can you play podcast of these respective so and so discussion. So it will start playing. I start hearing and I listen, and I in parallel I do the work. That's how the things goes on. Voice assistants came very quite common. Most of us uses these, and here where they use a complex combination of speech recognition, natural language understanding, and natural language processing to understand what humans are saying and then act on it. Exactly, that's what it is doing. When we are telling Alexa, can you play this song, means it is understanding the song of whom, so and so person, by the string of what I tell, by the same statement of what I tell. By processing it, it is just searching and taking it back, and it is playing out with the same command. Play is my command over there, and the next string is something my request. In the request, it is taking up and it is searching whether it is available over the Spotify or Geo7. It is available over the Geo7, for example. Then it will be telling like playing this song from Geo7. That's how these voice assistants goes on. We are, I mean, most of us are quite we are very often using these Siri, Alexa, Google assistants mostly. Yeah, we use as these Google Maps, and it is having a Google assistant. It is keep on guiding us that okay, you take left, you take right. Sometimes we tell like, okay Google, please, can you please call so and so person. It immediately go to your contact list. It will search for that particular person's name, and you know it will be filtering out with that particular person's name, and it will be calling you back. That's how these voice assistants goes on. And I can tell you, like, you know, most earlier the presentations of somewhere, for example, these now I'm presenting you all a deck, and over here I'm giving you the explanation of what exactly the things are, right? But I mean, nowadays, how the trend is going on, when I am in IBM, I used to design that, you know, there is a voice assistant which is of like a speech to text translator, by which there is an third party tool which uses, and the person who tells, explains, we take his explanation, speech to text, and you know, based on which we prepare a deck again back. After that, we integrate that deck with his speech, and we will be publishing it. And we used to provide, I mean, there will be an you know, there will be a forum discussions, or and there will be like an annual meetings where a huge forum will be like the same of what we are here. There will be like an 500,000 people will be gathering, and we want to discuss all our achievements and all our, you know, what we have did so far, or annually, quarterly, half yearly, is there any keynotes and everything. How we used to do, we used to like an speech to text translator, and even in that we can select the different voice formats in which we are able to, whether it's an female American accent or male UK accent. We can give some inputs, post in which, by based on the text of what it has, text to speech or speech to text. We have various third party tools of how we can use these of. Yeah. And coming to next, language translator. Want to translate a text from English to Hindi, or English to different regional languages or various languages. Most of us are, this is also quite we are all using is like the same of, as an example mentioned over here, Google Translate. There will be an there is an tool which is available in the Android version of these, or the other operating systems as well. When we are getting these, and we are just, you know, when I traveled to Ladakh. At that time, the board is written over Ladakhi language. Whereas I opened these Google Translate, and I have taken the snap of it, and it have translated me the exact text over there to the English, and from where I have took a decision accordingly. That's how it goes. I mean, when I have been in Kashmir, Kashmiri's language it is of. They used to speak in Kashmiri. A cab driver, when me and my wife were traveling, and he's discussing the co-driver, and he are talking in Kashmiri, and we are in a very, you know, we felt it's a suspicious. So what I have did is, like, I have enabled these, you know, Google a translator, and I'm just speech, there is an option of speech, I have enabled it, and I try to capture their speech, and you know what it have written, exactly the terms of what they are talking, and that's not something which I'm supposed to feel suspicious. These are the things that we are using quite common. The phone, mobile that we all have in our hand, and we are using these more often. Even a 60, 70 years old lady or agent who are they're at their they are having an Android phone, and they're at 10th school graduates or somewhere. They don't have enough knowledge to understand something. They're simply getting into a Google screen, and they're just telling it over with their regional context or accent, and it is understanding, and the response is coming back with the same languages of what they are expecting. This is how the things are going on in a very quite in our everyday lives of what we are using every day. Here where the same of it is still a great tool to convert text from one language to another. Google Translate and other translation tools, as well as use sequence to sequence modeling, that is a technique in natural language processing. Earlier language translator used statistical machine translation SMT, which meant they analyzed millions of documents. They were already translated from one language to another, for example English to Hindi in case, and then look for the common patterns and basic vocabulary of the language. However, this method was not that accurate, so compared to sequence modeling. That's how it is, right? Obviously, when we are having these are all the realistic applications that we are using. I mean, this is not, I mean, when people talk about artificial intelligence, we feel that artificial intelligence is something which is which is coming, still coming. No, actually we are using without a proper knowledge that already we are using it from the long back, that already we are using it, and we are still continuing using it. Yep. Yeah. Going to the next slide. Sentiment analysis. Sorry, can everybody go on mute? Thank you. Yep. Sentiment analysis. Almost all the world is on social media these days, and companies can use sentiment analysis to understand how a particular type of user feelings about a particular topic, product, etc. They can use natural language processing, computational linguistics, and these text analysis, example, etc., to understand the general sentiment of the users for their products and services, and find out if the sentiment is good, bad, or neutral. Companies can use sentiment analysis in a lot of ways, such as to find out the emotions of their target audience, to understand product reviews. I can give you an example. How this happens is of we have used these sentiment analysis. This is one of the package that we got. As I mentioned, like I use this robotic process automation, and over there is an we already have a package with the Blue Prism of the on the sentiment analysis. And what the code you does, it will take an input which maybe a product reviews kind of thing that we all go purchase based on a reviews, right? Obviously, based on the reviews that we give, these language will be processing, these naturally language will be processing, and post in which they will be taking out the respective words from it, and the sentiment is analyzed, based on which it will be giving a ranking, based on which the percentages on which the number that we get. Okay, these ranking based on these number, okay, we have to consider it as good, based on which it is neutral, based on which it is bad. These are quite used by many of the product reviews, and these for example the Amazon or the Flipkart. These sentiment analysis or any review, any products or any reviewer pages, they are all using these sentimental analysis algorithms in their respective daily jobs to enhance their sales or the product betterment and all. They are using this. And the next one is of grammar checkers. This is, I think, we are all quite familiar, but most of the things that I mean nowadays, including these grammar checkers, that it is assisting us how to write an email. If we go to the Gmail and I start telling that hi all, it immediately gives me what I have, how I have to greet. The best way is that I can greet. Okay, if I want, when I enters these right arrow, immediately that text will be included over there. And after that, the next line, I wanted to take. Then again, it will suggest, when I give, like I wanted to take leave, it will be giving us the phrases, different phrases, to suggest us, to include the mail, to make it very betterment. Recently, I will tell you a very good example. One of my colleague, who is working, and he has a habit, when we are writing a mail to the client. Okay, he has an habit to write the response in a very paragraphs. uh, he used to write like a 3 to 4 paragraphs, and each paragraph is having 4 to 5 lines. Almost all at 20 lines of paragraph he used to send a mail to the client. And the client, obviously, anyone will understand, like, and no one will have a time to sit and read your mail and understand it and give you a response. No one will be there. So obviously what happens, he scheduled a call next day, and he asked what happened, where you have sent that very long mail. And from there on, what my colleague have did, he have used these one of the chat gpt's concept. He used one other the AI, this chat gpt, and he have taken a premium license of it, paying some odd money to it. And he have taken license of it, and he have given the key points to that respective chat, and stating, I have to write a mail to my manager with these points. This is what it is, and this is what. Next day morning, I was also surprised that, I mean, every time when he writes an email, he writes with very old fashioned or ununderstandable format. He tries to give as much as clarity to the opposite person, but that means even the opposite person of the client feels more ambiguity from out of the context, like reading, no, what happened exactly. Because they wanted to know whether, in one point of time, they wanted to know whether the work is done or not. Yes or no. Yes or no can answer better, sorry, than a better paragraphs of what we write, right, obviously. And that have given a very nice speech, that, I mean, each and every point is mentioned very perfectly, right? And all the things are mentioned over the bullet points, and the each and every format that it was written very, very accurate. And even the client have responded immediately, stating what are all the requirements that we are expecting from the client, as an input to process or to get further on our development. He used to, like, give us the required attachments of the documents and all, and immediately we started doing it. I mean, there is no, I mean, now the job got simpler, right? Earlier, he have written an email, and post that, again, he have scheduled a call to understand what exactly we are looking for, and again came back. And after, he is sending back a mail with the requirements. Rather than that, when you are sending very accurate email that answers what exactly that we are looking, that gives us more time efficiency over there, right? Obviously, that's what it is of, like, I mean, grammar and spelling is a very important factor while writing professional reports of your superiors, even assignments for your lecturers. After all, having major errors may get you fired or failed. That's why grammar and spell checkers are a very important tool for any professional writer. They can not only correct grammar and check spellings, but also suggest better synonyms and improve the overall readability of your context. Obviously, that's what it is doing. Even not even synonyms, it is suggesting us the phrases even. Like, when I tell that I'm very good, it suggests, like, immediately I'm better, or somewhere it is of I'm nice, or whatever the context it is, it suggests us accordingly of what exactly we are trying to do. Yeah, an LP algorithm is trained on millions of sentences to understand the correct format. That's how it is. And here, where I can make it, if you observe over here, NLP algorithm is trained, is something that it is mentioned over here. These natural language processing is something that it has to get trained on, which, I mean, various algorithms, and which how to take, as I mentioned earlier, like a regular expressions will be used, or different methods or techniques will be used, or an deep learning mechanisms will be used to get the most naturally language processing that coming out of it. Yep. And the email classification and filtering. Emails are still the most important method for professional communication. However, all of us still get thousands of promotional emails that we don't want to read. Thankfully, our emails are automatically divided into three sections, namely primary, social, and promotions, which means we never have to open the promotional section. But how does this work? Email services use natural language processing to identify the contents of each email with text classification so that it can be put in the correct section. Most of the cases we are all aware that we face as these, and where most of our things that goes on are these natural language processing will be used over here as well to understand this better. Yeah. And coming back to the overall processing of how the things goes on here, when we are talking a chatbot or these search engines or voice assistants, these language translator, these sentiment analysis, the grammar checkers or email classifications and filterings, all these concepts we are using every day, that regular formats that we are using in our very daily formats, that how the things are going on. These artificial intelligence is something that as part of these natural language processing, the things goes on, and based on the requirement that it takes up and uses the various tools to make it more accurate on it. So here we're coming back, I wanna stress on some of the things that some of the natural language processing libraries that include these natural language toolkits, and these are the SPACY or the transformers by Hugging Face or Genzim. All these are the libraries that we already have. And natural language processing is something that it is like an understanding and generation on various aspects of how it is. So just summarizing of what we have discussed so far. Just I'm reiterating the things. Before that, any queries from anyone? Yep, fine. Let me take these up. So natural language processing is one of the branch of the artificial intelligence that gives the ability to machine understand and process human languages. Human languages can be in the form of text or audio format, that which we already have discussed so far in the very detailed format on whether it's a text to text translation or a voice to text formation or text to voice translation kind of. This is so that machines can understand and interpret the human language to eventually understand human communication in a better way. Natural language processing is a cross among many different fields such as artificial intelligence, computational linguistics, these human computer interaction, etc. There are many different methods in natural language processing to understand human language, which include statistical and machine learning methods. I could have shown you all the demo of the exact thing of what we are developing, but it is in the very dev phase of exactly what currently we are doing, which I have mentioned earlier, the MS Teams integration with one of the RPA tool. Not even, I mean, here where you can take these up. I mean, nowadays we have these chatbots are quite available with these Power Automate or these Microsoft Power Apps. There is a chatbot can be developed and be used in most of our regular business improvements or in regular formats of how we can make it as service oriented things or any other betterments of what the exactly the requirement is of. We discuss these phases of natural language processing, which the analysis phases is and the integration phase. And post in which we discuss these two components of the natural language processing, which is of understanding and generation. Some of the natural language processing libraries include these NLTK, SPA, as we mentioned earlier, and post that normalizing these textual data into NLV. This is one of the important thing that how we do. Text normalization transforms text into a consistent format, improves the quality, and makes it easier to process in natural language processing tasks. As there are, we discuss these more brief on key steps in text normalization includes regular expressions or sequences of characters that define search patterns, right? Regex in Python, as I mentioned, not only in Python, Regex is something that we uses in the various other programming languages as well. These regular expressions is quite familiar, like when we wanted to extract the required information from from a context or a paragraph or a text. We just take the data from uh, the required input from there, and we extract and we process it, and email extracting using regular expressions as well. And tokenization is also a pattern which we have normalization technique, which we discussed. Like normalization is a process of splitting text into a smaller units called tokens. Word tokenization, rule-based tokenization, subword. We know this, right? I mean, apart from this tokenization, when we are looking after these word, rule-based, subwords, dictionary based in the white space and the word piece, these are more in brief that there are different kind of tokenization techniques are there. And these lemmatization reduces words their bases or root form, or stemming reduces works to their root by removing suffixes. Types of stemmers include Porter stemmer, Lancaster stemmer, Snowball stemmer. All these have a very detailed, how they do, how the respective programs they have, rule-based stemmings and all. Stop word removal is a process to remove common words from the document. We know when there is in concept that uses. I will tell you. I mean, in one of the psychology aspects, when we are using what the 5 words that we get in our mind when we see a particular word. For example, what are the 5 words that we get when we are remembering artificial intelligence? After this session, I mean, most of the peoples will get the chatbot or NLP programs or any other, even Alexa, all these are respective words, right? When we are getting, I mean, in a paragraph, for example, over the screen, we have some data mentioned over there, starting from to dot tokenization till and context in the 6th point, and out of which there are very common words will be there, like a is, ye, of, into, called, all these things, or all these are normal verbs that will be used, helping verbs will be used. So all these will be removed, post in which we get like word, rule based, subword, dictionary, white space, word paste. I mean, these kind of things that, I mean, extracting the required words out of which the common words will be removed, and all these techniques will be used over here. Parts of speech, tagging assigns a part of speech to each word in sentence based on definition and context. Yeah. And text representations or text embedding techniques in natural language processing. Text representation converts textual data into numerical vectors that are processed by the following methods. There are various methods we have mentioned earlier: one hot encoding, bag of words, engrams, term frequency, inverse document frequency, the engram language modeling with NLTK. Yep, these are various techniques that we will be having more brief. We can there are various nice documents or URLs that are available over the forum or the internet, that we can go there and we can search the different text embedding techniques or a text representation, how it is of. Here, text embedding techniques refers to the methods and models used to create these vectors representations, including traditional methods as it mentioned above, like term frequency, inverse document frequency, or bag of words, and more advanced approaches will be used. When it is a word embedding, word to vector, which is used in the like a skipgram, continuous bag of words, CBOW, or as global vectors for word representations, or the fast text. All these are the respective techniques used over the word embedding. Whereas pre-trained embedding is something, these embeddings from natural language models. These are very, when we are making a NLP learning, how we talk it as like when we talk as a chatbot, how we use the terminologies of we are training our bot. We are not writing any code or anything. We are training our bot. For example, when it is often when we are giving an instructions to it, or when we are giving a respective program processing accordingly how it has to perform the respective actions. All these things will be done over these NLP. And as we discuss these deep learning techniques, which is of we have called them out of it, like an deep learning has revolutionized natural language processing by enabling models to automatically learn complex patterns and representations from raw text. As I mentioned earlier, there is a cases of how we train, and based on which the responses, what responses has to come up, and based on which has to be think. But these deep learning techniques is something have made a revolutionary changes over these natural language processing, by which the complex patterns are automatically learned by the agent or the bot, and the representations from the raw text out of it. The request will be placed when we out of these out of a paragraph or out of an email, request will be placed, and in which the respective action has to taken out of that, and that action has to get processed further. That's where the requirement goes on, right? So yeah, for example, as I mentioned earlier, I can give these example later. Yeah, pre-trained language models. Pre-trained models understand language patterns, context, and semantics. The provided models are trained on massive corpora and can be used tuned for specific tasks. For example, generative pre-trained transformer or transformers Excel or text-to-text transfer. For example, when I say that Alexa, can you play this song? Here, Alexa is in starting node by which the respective program will start triggering. After Alexa, the next word is of can you please. See, I'm talking, I'm just communicating to it. I'm not telling any commands like play this. I'm just communicating to it. Alexa, can you play this song? When I'm telling this sentence, Alexa is the starting trigger of that program to get started, and post that can you please is something which it is not required for our action, so it will be removed. Can you please is a common words that we use as, so it will be removed, and post that play this song. So play is again a command by which the respective actions has to get triggered, and this is in statement or a query by which that respective this has to be used to that. Let's assume this is a song name. Okay, so that this is considered as a song name because we have used song as the last word, which it is used as in which respective action that respective program what has to do. So here where the language patterns or the context is written, and semantics, and semantics in some of the things we all aware that uh, when we are telling we are all new that starting and the ending, we uses the terminology by which the command is done. When we don't use that command, when I tell that Alexa please play this song, Alexa is the starting node and there is no ending node again. When I tell again an Alexa, again the first command or the first request of what I'm talking is done already. Now again a new request is placing over here. Again it starts listening. Again Alexa. Okay, now again it got triggered. Go back to the main start page, and again it starts coming up with the start. Okay, now it is listening. Voice to text. It is converting. The algorithm is going on in which can you please, and it is listening. Can you please? Yeah. Next, play this song. Play is something a command. This is something was not defined already. It is there over the libraries that it has. If not, the response has to come in a different format how it was written. If it is there over the libraries which it is available, when the search algorithm works over there in the respective applications available to that Alexa program, now the respective algorithms when it is placing the search mechanisms is going on. There are two applications that I have given enabled for that Alexa. For example, it is of a Spotify and another one is of a Geo7. Spotify is one application, Geo7 is another application, and it searches with the nearest song, which the song name that I placed it over there. Then it goes, the first search got exactly the one better match. Then it come back, gives a response as start playing the song. That's how the response goes on. Yeah. Next one. We all discussed very briefly on these applications of natural language processing, chatbots. As I mentioned, like this is becoming. I think these chatbots will go very often for each and every service. You go whatever. Now we're booking a gas. Yes, go for a chatbot. For any electrician, you have to go for a chatbot, because I mean nowadays the services are providing better. For example, an internet. There is an Act Fiber net, right? Most of us are using this. When we are using this Act Fiber net or an Airtel Fiber net, when we are using, there is like a glitch. The network is very slow. When you go there, it will give you a chart, okay, for a service. It will ask like a go come here and ask here, rather than earlier it is of like, call to this number, and we call and we will be in the queue, and it will be telling, you will be the 98th participant or a requested person waiting for a request. Rather than that, now immediately when you tells that hi, it will give you a response. So what's your problem? Okay, then out of which adaptive cards we have a problem over here. If it is listed over her our adaptive card option, for example, my internet is slow or my internet is having an issue, that's something an adaptive card menu it is having. I click on it, then it will go down and it is giving us like, let me check, a message response. That let me check, what it does, it go back, it runs its algorithm, check with the networking, okay, and it is giving, and it is getting the logs, the command when we go and we do, right, and we check these time spaces and the response of what it is getting, the response rate of what it is getting on these, and based on which it will give a response stating that, can you check now? Then again I will check, and still I am not getting any continuous internet, or I'm facing the same issue. Again I go back, no, it was not resolved. Then it will go and connect to the, and it will first raise a ticket. If you go and users, I mean most of the people, I hope you have did it, and it will first give you a ticket, that by which the respective ticket or an issue will be tracked. After that ticket got received, then immediately it will give you a message stating that please give us 24 hours to 48 hours to resolve your issue, to provide a solution to your issue. So all these things can, I mean earlier before these chatbots came in or an artificial intelligence came in, earlier all these things was done by the people. They used to have a voice support. There is like a 24/7 support, and people do the same, and they you tell us like, okay, do this, okay, switch off this, switch on this. All these things will be provided the commands over the chatbot response only, and the same, the things are going on, and post in which the things are good, it's the same response like, yeah, we have logged your ticket, it will be resolved in 24 to 48 hours. That's what the things goes on. Yeah, the same things are happening over the chatbots. I mean, we are using these chatbots very quite often nowadays, and these WhatsApp or the communications, even WhatsApp chatbot is something, it is going on in a very revolutionary format. I mean, whenever you go to some showroom, they are sending you the request, the bill to the WhatsApp, and there they are asking the feedback either, stating that how's the service is there. When you give, they again start giving you the questions. I mean, this is enabling, the chatbot is enabling to, getting the better improvement over the product that they have developed, or the service that they have provided, or the request that you have, some request that you have to get a needful to be done. And that this is also the things happens over the chatbots. And these are all quite we are using from very long time, and they are getting more better nowadays going forward. Yeah. And auto complete in search engines, this is the very revolutionary things. I mean, it's running over the decades, that we are all quite aware on this Google or other Yahoo searches and all. We all know this. Yeah. And the next one is a voice assistant. I have given these a brief example earlier as well, like Siri or the iPhone or an Alexa, Amazon product, or an Google Assistant, a Google product. There are various these voice assistants are there, and they are receiving voice to text, and based on which, based on the once the text got convert, once the text is there, automatically the commands is there. The response will be generated with the from the unstructured to the structured format, and we are processing it, and that made easier to make it. And again, the response either has to get into a text format, or again it gives back a response by stating with the voice again back. And language translator is another one, which I given an realistic examples how we do and how the most of the people we have experienced. And even now there is in new application which is of Google Lens. You know how the algorithm is working. There is there is in the Google prompt over there is a mic icon. Next to it there is a lens icon, based on which ones we are clicking on the lens. Very recent times what I have did, one of my friend got an injury, uh, based on which he have taken in a tablet. And that tablet, instead of going and searching over the typing over the Google, I just opened this lunch and I lens and I clicked over their tablet name, and I started getting the and you know all the details of the tablet, which particular pharmaceutical company that generated this tablet, what are all the side effects and what are all the benefits, what are all the precautions that it has to be taken, and all the things will be prompted over the screen of my search. Yeah, or else a person using, I'm wearing a shirt which I wanted to, we all I think most of us have seen an advertisement which Google have placed when it is promoting the Google Lens. You know, a particular picture will be taken, and in that particular picture a particular shirt will be cropped and searched. It will give you responses, you know, where these particular shirts and similar kind of shirts are available, if there is some branding and particular logo is there, and how much this costs, and all these details will be provided in a very single touch. That what we are doing, we just opening that application, we are clicking it out and we are taking it out. That's it. And we are getting all the required information out of it. These things are happening, and this language translator we discussed. And over in the next slide, sentiment analysis. Yeah, we have did these. I mean, most of the people that we knew that, I mean, the analysis, when we visit to a doctor, we all wanted to get visited to a best doctor. The reviews will be there. Obviously there will be a digital marketing concepts will be there, and in which the promotions will be done and all the things. But when the things are going on, the product the respective reviews will be placed either one website or the other website, or in a Google reviews, and all these things we do analyze. And nowadays, rather than a human going and searching and to the particular person reviews and getting the feedback, directly getting some of the algorithms and some of the programs coming into the place where it is giving an analysis, it will give you a sentimental analysis of a product. Okay, these many people have rated this much, this doctor this much, a report will be generated, and out of which he is good at these out of, and for example, there is endocrinology department where a respective doctor who is the best doctor or the city you wanted to get. When we run these kind of sentimental analysis, you know, the reports will be generated based on which, okay, for these endocrinology, out of which these for these issue, he is the best doctor. He most people have reviewed these, and all these details will be provided based on this reporting, by which a user can be get benefited. And this is mostly these kind of analysis and all will be used by the product based companies, or I mean the companies of whoever they're providing or promoting the products or providing the services. They do these all these analysis and they do it. Yeah. And the next one is of grammar checks, and I have extended these not only grammar checks, like it is suggesting phrases either which are the best, you know, how we can write the best format of an email and how we can make it better. Yeah, there are various algorithms and various things are there. And the next one is of email classification and filtering. And coming over here, the same, you know, most of the use cases that, I mean, in the real time, when we do most of the use cases, we all get these kind of email automations where, you know, the processings will be done over the email. For example, as I mentioned earlier, in one of the use case I have given earlier, like a service now ticket was locked, and based on which automatically the service now tool will trigger an email to respective approvers mailbox and respective user mailbox, CCing the user and the approver. These kind of things will be done. Yeah. And once this is done, and a response will be coming back from the user, from the manager. For example, a manager request was sent to approve it. So now manager has to reply back. Okay, and there will be, there will be different schedulers that it will wait to read the emails. Okay, first it came, it searched whether the mailbox, some response came from the manager. No. Okay, from this manager, from this mail ID, what doesn't know who is manager or not. How we make it is someone. Okay, the response has to come from these email address, and this is the subject line, and these are the keywords that it is available, approved. All these things will be coming over these email classifications and filtering. As mentioned, primary, social, and promotions, we all knew that these is shown over the Gmail when we are Google Mails, that when we are using there will be 3 partitions of the sessions. But the as I mentioned, we segregate them based on which, most of us are using Outlook. There we placed a rule in the Outlook capability, that we placed a rule. Now when my point is of like getting a response from these mail ID, and based on the response, okay, if it is mentioned approved, or another response okay, or go ahead, if these 3 responses are the approved responses a manager has to provide over there, then based on that responses placed over the mail, once that is present, the respective code of whatever the things of the chatbot or an bot is waiting, or an agent is waiting to respond back to the respective person. Okay, the upload is came, means that the action has to get fulfilled, right? With that, after getting that account creation, or deletion of an account and all these things, the services, for example, an employee who is leaving the organization, and now where the point comes in, we have to deactivate a respective account, right? Obviously. So deactivation of account means, for example, when a person is leaving an organization, his mail ID, he's not supposed to use it after once he left the organization. Obviously, the authorization has to get revoked, the accesses has to get revoked, the even the physical building accesses has to get revoked, and all the applications and all the things has to get revoked. All these things has to get deactivated. So the same format of what I have discussed earlier. First, a mail will be sent with the list of people who were offboarding from that respective project, or they are leaving the respective company organization on that particular day. We get a receive a respective list of mail IDs, that okay, these mail IDs, these people are leaving. Okay, then we go, okay, there is an mail IDs, okay, fine, we got that, and there will be different applications involved in that, by which we have to get an approval. And after that, once everything is done, there are 6 to 7 layers of different applications. We have to log in, we have to check there, we have to go back, and this is all the manual process. And nowadays, how these is going on, all these getting automated. It is getting in a mail was sending, based on which what is going, and reading that respective table form, and it is extracting all the 10 email IDs, and it is started taking all of them into a collection, and it is getting into a loop. First it is started executing a respective first email ID, xyz at the rate some outlook.com. So xyz at the rate outlook.com mail ID, first it gets into an E application and checks whether everything is okay. Okay, fine, there we get an approval. Then we are going back to the B application, and we are checking, yes, he is good to go off. And in parallel, now all the 9 people are waiting over the queue. And what I do, I will run these in the multi-bot architecture, where the first goes in, and it will do processing the deactivation process of a person, and the second bot starts it, and again the same as multi-bot architecture, which I have mentioned. Again, the same code will run. Already the first one is running over the queue. It will be like an the queue, yes, it is locked, the first one is locked, so that's the second one is of pending. So let's take the second one, and it goes in the same format, and it's go further, and it will be getting into the all the sign-offs one after the other applications. All the 7 applications was done. Then next, the first one will be sending an email response to the person who is sending back. Once all the 10 people's approval is done, in meanwhile, if some approval has to be taken from the manager, email will be sent to that respective person, and that response coming back, again that statement approved will be is mentioned. Approved is something which humans will understand. Natural language processing will be taking place, that in which that approved word is getting read by the bot or an agent, and it is taking it further, and it is doing it further, the required actions of what it is doing, and ultimately it is deactivating his respective privileges of what it is having over the authorizations in that respective applications, and finally the accesses are revoked, and the person who is getting the sign off to leave the company, before he is leaving off, all the approvals and everything is in place. This is how the things are going on. I explained you an use case. I think today in the session I have explained you 4 to 5 different use cases in the realistic or the where we are doing it. Yeah, any queries so far, or are we good to go get into the conclusion? Yep. So I'm getting into the conclusion. Like, these are the most popular applications of the natural language processing, and chances are you may have never heard of them. I hope that this statement is a bit weird, but most of you people quite have familiar with most of the concepts of what it is. Natural language processing is used in many other areas such as social media monitoring, translation tools, smart home devices. I have told you these smart home devices, survey analytics, etc. Chances are you may have used natural language processing a lot of times till now, but never realized what it was. I completely agree this. I mean, most of us won't be knowing that already we are using these artificial intelligence. We feel like artificial intelligence, okay, it's coming over the IT and something big boom, it's happening. And most of the jobs will be wiped from the company organizations, but not something that which it is happening. Actually, every day after these artificial intelligence came into the pitch and it is growing, the people's things are going on, the employment is going up. The thing is, the intelligence of a human is utilizing in the proper way exactly how a intelligence has to be used. These artificial intelligence which already a human knew how to do it or how to get it processed, all these things are coming in. Most of the lawyers are using these, there are BSS, there are BNSSS, they are using these. There will be lots of sections will be mentioned over there. They are using a chat GPT to getting, okay, what is the sections that the respective sections will be aligned to on these respective case, and what are the earlier any previous cases that it is available. Even doctors, we are all aware that artificial intelligence enabled bots are doing the operations, such surgeries over these operations and all. We are quite aware and the familiar with. Already we are using it, and but we don't, I mean, never realized, okay, this is belongs to artificial intelligence, but we are already using them. But now the insane amount of applications of these technology and how it's improving our daily lives. If you want to learn more about this technology, there are various online courses, and various URLs that it is available. Artificial intelligence, it's quite familiar. And the natural language processing, as we mentioned, that where there are various techniques, methodologies that it is available, the deep learning concepts and all is available, and you can easily go nowadays. How the things are available is of with the proper knowledge, basic knowledge. With the basic knowledge of a day or a 2 days knowledge, you go simply get into some cloud, you're able to create the chatbot of what you require. As I mentioned, like, there is an industry things are going on, like low code and no code concepts. All the packages was built, and you're just importing those packages and enabling in your program, and you are running them, you are utilizing them. That's how the things are going on. Yep. I hope the session is not so boring. I try to give as best as realistic examples that we users every day in a realistic world. We users various things and all. Yeah. Any queries, any points, any highlights that you wanted to take, or we are good to stop?
Yeah, dear participants, kindly interact with our resource person.
Yep, please. I can see there is hand raised. Please. There's a please. Uh, is someone speaking?
Yeah, good
Fahim?
evening, sir.
Yeah, hi, Fahim. Yeah, please.
Yes, sir. This we are using natural processing language, right? So, what type of models they will use to, and how that models will work?
I think I have shown them. I mean, some of the model examples, how exactly the things goes on over the slides. There are different models on various things that it will go on. That, as I mentioned, like I mean, various methodologies or an architecture, models are available that based on the requirement. It's like in cloud nowadays that we can get various models on different formats or the requirements how it goes on.
Hello.
A model for the particular thing, or we can use general architecture model.
I mean, for every requirement, the basic thing is of how the natural language processing. It's something. The basic architecture remains the same, but when we are getting into the way of how we are utilizing it, I mean, how the interactions from where we are gathering the requirement and from where we are giving a response, the applications of how we are doing and the artificial intelligence how we are making it. As we mentioned, like there are various concepts how to enable and how to utilize it, based on which the architectures will change, but the basic things will be remain same. Based on the analysis, it's a basic format for him. Yeah, the things of, I mean, first it first get the response, I mean input, and post that it analyzes the input of what it got, and post that, as I mentioned earlier, in one of the things of voice to text example, for when we are using an Alexa, for example, Alexa is my triggering node, in which the program will get automatically triggered over here. Means a triggering node is there over here, which is a voice to text format over here. When we are using these particular artificial intelligence concept over here, here the model will get varied, but the base model on which making understanding on the inputs of what we receive and take it for further, and how we are making it utilization. Here simply it is of natural language processing is something I can say, receiving a request, processing it, making, I mean, doing the analysis and transferring this natural language into the mission understandable format, and by which the respective response will be given back to the action. That's how it is. Yeah.
Hello,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Hi. Uh,
Hello.
Hello. Yes. Who's this? I mean, this is Krishna Prakash, sir. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Is it audible?
Yes, you are audible.
See, when we talk about that syntax,
Yeah.
especially with reference to English and foreign language, what
Yeah.
kind of the word selection will be done through the app?
When it is coming to the syntax way of how we are processing, when it is a foreign language and thing,
Like example, to be more specific, like
yeah.
Asian languages and European languages. For Asian languages, we have this subject, object, and a verb. Whereas when we talk about European languages, it is subject, verb, and object. That is, we call it as concord in English. So how this application reads and how we get it like translation when we go for translation, especially with reference to app. I just need a clarity on that.
That's what, sir. I mean, there are the modeling concepts in which deep learning concepts are there, by which the as you mentioned, like this translations is happening. This is an very deeper that Google Translator model. I think there is another session. I try to bring these up. That Google translation model is there, by which it will translate, it receives and get the responses back over there. Sometimes when we observe the the, as I mentioned, the agents or the bots are getting trained day to day. Like I mean earlier, when we are making a note in the English and the respective language that we are making, earlier it used to get some errors, minor errors of the response translation exactly. but nowadays it is giving a very accurate response in the formats of how it is getting in. As when we mention like the same, whether it's an European format or when I told like a Ladakhi language, when I have been over the Ladakh, when I read them, it perfectly translates it to the English. I mean, the translator recognition algorithms was enabled, and it is going the model of how they have designed. They made it in the format of, in the very stronger format. I can bring some examples in the next session. Yeah, on this.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank Any other queries from any other forum or the team? I try to keep as much as a realistic example, as I told that, I mean, in the past 10 years of my experience, what are all the things came in. Actually, I have came into this artificial intelligence background, starting, with the very support projects that when I started my career with the support project, and that respect to project got into this automation. And I also moved to the automation from there. These journey started of mine, and, there are various use cases that I'm getting interacted with. So I think I made as possible examples for you all to understand these better. In the next session, I can make it more realistic things on how it is. Yeah. Thank you all. Thanks for the time.
So thank you, Veeranjeneyulu garu.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sobna madam. Hello.
Yeah, thank you, Veeranjeneyulu sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and thank you, Samsirav Garan and Sunita, ma'am, and the NRI college and the whole forum for giving these opportunity on these other FTP program and giving insights on the things of what are realistic examples that we all share. Thank you so much, all.
So thank you so much, Mr. Veeranjeneyulu, for your wonderful lecture. So hope you reached the audience. So dear audience, that's all for today's night.